I mean, you wouldn't
Hello.
not lick your fingers first.
Hello!
This stems on from Dean's comment of this stream is finger licking good.
Okay, sure, okay.
Don't
Great.
worry, everybody. He was talking about putting his penis inside my bum. It's nothing bad.
Oh, okay. You know my mother watches this show sometimes.
Yeah, but it's my bum, not yours.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Much better.
Ooh.
So, you're starting to slog through the swamp.
Hey,
Whoever...
my bum is not a swamp.
It's like I connected what the joke was going to be like a half second too late. One of you needs to give me a survival roll. Who would be
Well,
leading
I think
the
we've already
party?
established none of us are wise.
I have good survival though.
That makes sense.
She
That's
a
it.
pirate.
Doing it. I'm gonna use the inspire.
Oh yeah, good plan.
There's an extra D8 on this one.
Okay.
Here's where the one appears.
I've been feeling.
14.
14's pretty good. No, that's reasonable, right? So you start trudging your way, slogging your way through the swamp. It's not fast going. It's not the kind of terrain that any of you are really used to. There's mosquitoes. There's even like big, angry, sharp-teethed fish in the water. But yeah, no, I know that wasn't a conscious decision.
Or as Knight calls them while fishing them up with his claws, dinner.
Yeah. But eventually, after several hours of making your way through this place, actually, why doesn't everyone give me a perception check real quick? I assume you're making your way through the swamp. It's actually quite interesting. It seems
I
like
have
the
not
swamp.
rolled a double digit today. Not one.
Aside from the 10 you just rolled.
Yeah,
that
except for that
wasn't-
wasn't a 10.
That wasn't on the die, though.
Oh,
That-
rolled. Yes, true. Clearly it's been sunken for quite some time, but the forest has kind of, accepted its fate, more or less, and there's some plant life, growing above that line. Gil, you could swear you saw a little figure, maybe 3.5 foot tall, kind of looked like a frog man, watching you from one of the trees.
That's Scott over there.
Before hopping away.
It's sad because he's never gonna watch this.
And you watch out for more of them, but you never see any more. And they go like deeper into the rainforest.
I love those things.
Yep.
Straight up.
You kind of got Arvine addicted to some dangerous substance once, thanks to those things.
I would probably relay what I saw to the gang.
Little frog dude.
Yeah.
So this island has natives. Very interesting. But I mean, if they are, perhaps keep an eye out for them. But if they do not seem aggressive, I see no reason to bother them.
Yeah, just something to keep an eye out for.
Certainly.
So we're not that worried about the frog dudes.
Well, they seem certainly less aggressive than some of the residents of this island. I will put it that way.
Indira's just kind of carrying her axe in front of her to like push away vegetation.
Yeah.
And stuff. She's like, I'm not worried about anything.
Okay then. Well, you can continue going first then, Indira. Why not?
Hi.
Eventually, you do make your way out of the rainforest. Near the very edge of it, it's much less sunken in. The island sort of levels up a bit more. There's a lot of these big cracks where clearly the shifting happened, and like a lot of that island's swamped that way. And when you get over sort of that area, you get to a little bit of a more temperate area. It's still a rainforest, it's still a tropical island, right? There's still palm trees and bright colored plants, but it's no longer a super dense forest. Because as you keep moving, you see what appears to be a village of white marble structures that are reclaimed by nature to quite a degree. They have vines growing up in them and all that much. It's almost in a bit of a valley. You have to kind of slog your way. I keep saying slog. It's the word of the stream. You have to make your way down the valley into the village proper. But how would you go about, exploring this little village here?
Well, we've already seen a couple of native races. We know that at least one of them is deadly, so I would suggest that we proceed with caution, or some might suggest stealth.
Yes, well, if even a abandoned village can, wild beasts can take up residence, it makes for an excellent den, It's like a cave. So, probably wise to do that. Oh, Indira, and B reaches out and touches you on the shoulder. Blessing of a trickster. So that you don't suck quite so badly. He doesn't say that
Thank
bit.
you.
Yeah. So, stealth rolls. Indira, that will cancel out the disadvantage given to you by your armor.
Okay.
Ooh, Gil'win. You've been hanging out with
Slogging
Vail.
through here.
Slogging through. Look at you go. It was actually all quite nice. You make your way down the side of the valley, noticing in some places that clearly there have been little walkways and steps, but the little walkways are made, they're never really paved, they're just clearly areas that have been cleaned out, but then nature has reclaimed them. And you make your way to the actual village itself, and you start exploring the buildings very quietly, each would be, moving in a staggered formation, probably with Vail and Knight in the front. The village is very clearly abandoned. You don't see any natives. You don't see much in the way of animals or beasts either. Small animals, yeah. In fact, there's actually like you spook a cat that like rustles away into the undergrowth, and there's
Wild
birds
cat.
and things. You eventually start to notice that the plant life that's clinging to the side of these buildings are very simple. They don't have doors. They don't have windows. Well, they have doors. They don't have like doors. They don't have windows. They're very simple, very open, very opened, planned structures that are made quite nicely. But the way nature has sort of claimed them seems deliberate. Sort of similar, Vail and Gil, to parts of Aradia, where they have vines that have been deliberately allowed to grow up, plant life and stuff like that. Although it seems that it maybe has gone too far in some places, definitely places where it's difficult to walk. There's not very many of these buildings, and there's not a whole lot in them. What is in them, there's not much in the way of... there's some furniture that's rotten away, wooden, but there are paintings. Quite high-quality paintings, actually. And eventually, Gil, you spy that one of these paintings has your mother in it.
Whoa.
It almost looks like real life. It almost is one of those things, it looked like, just because of the structure and the way you entered this building, like a window. But then you notice the wooden is not a window frame, but a frame to the actual painting. And it appears to be your mother and a handful of other individuals, mostly humans, a halfling, very much, just enjoying themselves. She's playing a little bit of music. The others are sort of, what the halfling is dancing. There's people cooking on a fire. And it appears to be pretty much in this village. It's actually, from the layout, looks like there's an open little area a bit further away ahead. That is
Right.
Quickly, is there any paintings that have kind of a nautical theme of like mermaids or like octopus? Or
mermaids, yes. There's the occasional mermaid painting.
She would take one and strap it to her back.
Yeah, I was gonna say Knight would definitely find like the most interesting or unusual scene for the painting of the most unusual.
So we're just looting Gil'win's mum's village now.
They're not
Well,
around to appreciate the beauty. I feel
Yes.
we should take some of this with us.
Not to put too fine a point on it, of course, Gil'win, if you would rather we did not.
Absolutely, by all means.
I'm just staring at my mum. I've not listened to anybody for quite a while.
Knight just shrugs with a slight smile and says, well, we can always put it back as long as we don't get chased out of here before he comes back to his senses.
Indira puts a hand on his shoulder and is like, "You okay?
Yeah.
Do you want this one? Should we
When I shift like this, Ollie, is it like one of those?
No. But it is painted in such a way where there's a little bit of that, but it's really just such an accurate painting.
Right.
It's basically, it would be a photo in like our world.
Vail, is this village where the X on the map is?
A little bit further.
Perhaps. Sorry. Continue. Do continue.
I wouldn't have thought it would be here. If Gil'win's mother was attempting to hide something, hiding it in a village filled with people probably would not be the best plan.
Yes, an excellent point. But this is the only landmark we have as such, this painting of her. I assume that is what has Gil'win's interest. It would at least be worth having a check behind it, see if there's anything there once Gil'win is satisfied.
Perhaps we
You
should
could take it down and bring it with you as a keepsake.
I don't.
A lovely painting.
It is. I want to keep it in its frame, if possible.
Sure. Indira very gently reaches for it.
Yeah, it's not, sealed to the wall or anything. You can straight up remove it.
She takes it and straps it to her back as well.
I presume that there's nothing behind it then.
Nope.
I'm just gonna
you can give me a quick investigation check.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Can I look on the back of the frame?
Mm-hmm. There's no words or anything written on the back. You don't seem to notice anything much. You do notice when glancing at the painting again, Knight, that there is a bit of an open area she's in that looks like an area a bit further ahead, and seems to be almost what looks like a temple, behind her. That's a little bit inset into the hillside that you couldn't see so clearly from above, just because of the way of the layout and the lay of the land.
Well, it seems you're right, Aravel, that this is not where it is kept, but perhaps you can see where she is standing in relation to the village, but near that temple out towards the back. Perhaps that might be our next destination.
That is not a bad shout, Knight. Gil, and he gives him a nudge on the shoulder.
Yeah.
You never told me your mum was such a looker, no? Hmm? Perhaps in another life I would have been your daddy. Then you would have been happy, no? Come, let's find this treasure.
Elbow him.
I'm smiling, Gil's not.
Yeah, Indira would elbow Vail.
What?
You're like, not cool.
It was a joke. It lightened the mood.
Didn't.
Knight just puts an arm around Gil and just sort of leans in. Don't worry, we shall find what we came for soon.
Should we keep moving then?
Sure, by all means. Indira, please take care of that.
Absolutely.
So
Vail, not funny.
Come on.
You keep moving through the other buildings. There's more paintings. All the buildings have, dead leaves at the bottom of them from, they've blown in. All the paintings noticeably are of, attractive people or attractive places. Some of them appear to be from places quite far away. Just, it's like a cold scene. Either it's been made up or it just doesn't look like it would be from this island.
Are they like recurring figures?
You sometimes notice other people. There's never another one of Gil'win's mum, but you sometimes notice other people in that painting. Clearly, those are paintings of the village. Whereas some others are just quite pretty scenes from far away, or just like I said, there's like a pretty mer person who's like actually that painting is like them coming up out of the water and like as if saying hello.
Are these all obviously by the same artist, or
They almost all look like photos.
like photos?
So, assumedly, yes, right?
Like photos. Okay. Would
Is it
I
the
know
magic?
of
You
that?
can give me an
spell?
Arcana check. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's Arcana?
Yeah, you know that there's a spell. It's not incredibly a common spell called Capture Image that can be used to capture a moment in time in the form of a painting. It requires a lot of resources and magical skill to make them this accurate. But seemingly there was either one person or multiple people who just capturing these moments.
So Knight would say, so there is I know of a magic that can capture images like this. This is far beyond a painting. It looks so realistic. Perhaps either a member of this village or perhaps Gil'win, your mother, was magical. Perhaps,
It's also an illusion spell, I believe.
Perhaps she knew this spell. Perhaps these were taken by her. Just food for thought. If you wish to, you are undertaking this quest to learn more about her, yes? Perhaps this is bringing you closer.
Doesn't seem unlikely considering what we found in her room at the School of Illusion. She certainly possessed a fair degree of skill in magic.
Skill of illusion, yes, I believe that is what this spell would come under.
It's also just a point is like these paintings are very well preserved, whereas everything else has kind of faded.
Right.
Also, kind of gives away that they're magical.
Just as a note, by the way, the whole time Gil'win's been like running his hands up and down a scroll case that he's got on his side as he's like looking at the painting and stuff.
Does Indira notice that?
Yeah. Imagine you're paying close attention to a sensitive boy.
Yeah, no, of course.
Knight would be looking at it like eyes sparkling occasionally, but he's sort of like the Tabaxi curiosity is warring with like sensitivity. Not sure if he should ask.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if Knight would notice that kind of social thing in that way. I don't know.
I don't know. He's. I mean, yeah, I think he probably would. Really,
Up to you.
because he's a charlatan basically.
Yes, that's true.
It's less social, more like if you were looking at someone as a mark as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Like,
Right, you sold me.
about
You're
Yeah.
you're right.
Indira
Two
would
pirates, a
mention it,
conman,
though.
and a bard.
Indira would be like, "What's going on there?"
Vail's like, give him some space. It's catty.
I'd like tend to her while still doing it and be like, what? What do you mean?
That
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't even realize I'm doing it. It's
nervous tick.
yeah, it's nothing.
Sure. Are you okay?
Yeah. I mean, after not seeing my mum for quite a while, seeing her in a painting, a beautiful painting, in a ruined town, it's all a little strange, you know.
Quite an emotionally draining moment, I can imagine. If
Indira. Oh, sorry. You go ahead.
if you do need to rest before we continue and gather your thoughts, by all means, just say the word.
Thank you.
Plenty of these would make a great camp. So
They're very open buildings. Like, you could easily all camp inside one of these.
I can't believe how close we are. And I look to Vail as I say that, and just give him a big smile.
It's been a long time, and we have gone through quite a lot, but we would not have made it without our friends on the way, Gil'win, and
No
we
way.
should take thanks for this moment.
Maybe thank Lady Luck as well.
maybe
Knight
just like
Knight flashes a grin at that.
maybe just like Melody and Haven and Amelia.
Indira would grab one of Gil's hands and in between both of her hands and just like kind of bring it up to her chest and be like, really, if you need to recoup, we can absolutely, it's been waiting all this time, it can wait one more night.
You see Vail cross his arms behind Gil when you do that.
No, we're closer than ever. We need to go right now.
Absolutely. Then we press forward.
I am just saying, as Vail starts walking, puts a hand on your shoulder, I am just saying, if a trap kills me, it is because I am already hurt from these harpies. Blame Indira.
She would hesitate to let go of your hand, by the way.
Okay.
It would linger on your hand. She just like is really concerned for you right now.
I give her a warm smile and keep walking on. Look after that painting.
I really, really will.
When you walk on, you come to that little open space that's in that painting. Unlike the rest of this actually has a white marble floor and almost like benches around the circle, places where you would sit, reclaimed by nature to a degree, but past it appears to be a temple-like structure that's, again, a little bit hidden by the hillside. There's a statue of a beautiful, curvaceous woman that has both the arms missing. She looks like very happy despite missing the arms, but it looks like very much the arms have been removed, not like it was sculpted that way. And also,
shame we can't take this to the ship. Jeez.
In the middle of the circle is a big white trunked tree with white leaves that looks like it's wilting. Looks like it's been dying for quite some time, and before it appears to be kind of a scarecrow looking creature. Or looking thing, It looks like almost like a skeleton made of wood very well, where there would be clothes and maybe padding, maybe fabric to make it look a little less weird. That's all rotted away and is kind of hanging off, which makes it even more weird. And it's just kind of hanging there with its head hanging low.
Does the statue, we're close to Tran, I've been on Tran, does that statue remind me of any religious figures from Tran?
You can give me a religion roll. Not Tran, but in your travels, Knight, and you've been to a lot of places. A lot of weird places as well. Yeah, well, not very long. Would you travel, waning curiosity. This is a goddess that is actually worshipped very casually, but in a lot of places. It's not the kind of place you'd usually find a church or even a temple like this, but it's the kind of, that figure, not with missing arms or so, but the figure you've seen as small little tokens and stuff, is a goddess named Gira, a goddess of nature. Not a lot of time when you think of nature goddesses, it's sort of like forests and the might of nature. This is a much more relaxed, agriculture, finding your place in nature, a very human way of thinking of nature, although it's not a human goddess. A lot of other people worship it. And it's actually believed, and one of the reasons you remember it, it'd be like one of the oldest faiths in the world, because it's just always been there as far as like any recorded history. Like there are ancient versions of this symbol of this woman that appears quite often, and you've from when you maybe even may have met like a follower of them before. They're usually sometimes nomadic, sometimes they live in these small little communities. They're very friendly people. They're very much almost resent violence, almost pacifists, and they respect beauty and kindness and stuff like that.
So Knight would be sort of murmuring this to whoever's next to him, probably Vail. Because he doesn't really think this is necessarily important to Gil, but he's just sort of like recounting it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of people.
I cannot say I like the look of that figure up ahead.
No, that seems ritualistic almost, and with the tree, I don't know, I am throwing suggestions to the wind here. I'm purely guessing. If there was some sort of ritual to sustain the tree and it has not been performed recently, perhaps any appeasement has lapsed. I do not know. This is not something I've come across.
Any ideas, Gil?
No.
Well, if there is any danger, then we would not want it to befall you when you are so close. Perhaps I might move ahead and investigate them myself to confirm their safety before everyone else wishes to come forward.
You are a brave cat, Tabaxi. Knight, try not to step on any traps or let that. He like squints at it. That terrifying figure tear you to shreds in front of us.
Yeah. Knight grins, returns the card that he'd clearly based that suggestion off onto his pocket. But maybe you didn't see it first. And then he's just going to move forward. He's going to be moving cautiously, maybe not stealthily, but definitely.
Knight.
Yes, Gil? Yes, go on.
I'll put my arms on his shoulders and be like, I've known you such a little time, but it doesn't feel that way. Thank you very much. Be careful, and I'll inspire him.
Ooh.
You are quite welcome, Gil'win. Now, let's have a look.
Indira's gonna back away with the paintings and like keep them to her back, like she's between them and the painting.
When you walk up to this thing, Knight, immediately you feel a holy power that is waning in this tree. You can easily feel that there must be some sort of connection between it and Gira. But the scarecrow-looking thing doesn't seem to react to your presence. Like I said, it's kind of drooped. It's kind of like eyes permanently open, but staring kind of at the ground, kind of at your feet.
So sensing this, I'm going to slowly approach the tree. Just put a hand on it gently. Assume it doesn't react. There's no reaction anyway. Then I will just quietly say, my lady, if there is something to be done to pursue this path further, then please enlighten me.
Who are you talking to? The scarecrow says.
Okay,
it's like you turn and it's very much looking at you.
I was speaking to my lady, but if you...
Not my lady, I presume.
Well, perhaps we know them by different names, but I assume you are a guardian then of this sacred tree. I presume that is what this is. You would have to forgive my ignorance.
I think guardian is a bit too much of a word. If I was a guardian, I would be a little bit more fighting fit, don't you believe, young man?
A valid point. In that case, what are you? A record keeper, or...?
It does pretty well. There's not really a very good word for what I am, but more curious is what are you? You're walking, but you're a cat. Very much feline.
Yes, well, my race, we originate from the southern lands, far from this island.
Ah, yes, a monster, walking and talking. How curious. But very much the sort of thing that would seek out this place, yes.
Yes, I mean, I am not here for myself. My companions, they have been led here.
He'll turn, like, with a sort of like a jangle, and it appears like it's focusing very intently on, Gil and Vail, who are kind of standing back there.
They have been pursuing a...
Have you brung Lana Gallagher back here to me? Is that her over there? You must say my eyes are very well faded, but I feel her aura very strongly.
I believe that would be... I have not brought Lana Gallagher, I'm afraid, but I have brought her son, Gil'win.
Ah, that explains why she feels so muddled over there. Half Lana and half something positively terrible.
That would certainly be one way to put it. If you do not mind, I can go and call them, and perhaps you can discuss at length. If you knew his mother, I'm sure he would love to hear tales.
Yes, I knew her quite well.
Oh, excellent. Then Knight is going to move back across, and basically, I don't know if they could actually hear
it's one of those things you could definitely tell the Scarecrow was talking, but maybe wouldn't hear the words very well.
Is he talking to the fucking Scarecrow?
Oh god, it's looking at us, Gil'win. Do we wave? Should we run?
Just stay still.
So Knight at this point comes back up to you and he says, Gil'win, your mother's name was Lana?
Yeah?
The Scarecrow, it is some sort of, not a guardian, but it has watched over the tree. It asked me if I had brought Lana Gallagher back. I presume it seems to be sensing your magical aura in some way. It does not seem aggressive. It seems to be a watcher, for want of a better term.
Okay. It senses. Oh, of course. I'll look at my hands. Okay. And I start walking towards it.
Ah, yes. Now that she gets closer, it's very clear that that's not the Lana Garrigear that I knew. No, no, no. You're very much different indeed. What a shame. I'm sure you're fine, of course, but I doubt you'll be as good as her.
Watch your tongue,
Hi.
thing.
Hello there.
No one's as good as Mum.
Ah, yes.
Everyone
so
tries to be.
you are the son of the great Lana Garrigear. How interesting. I did think that she would return, but not in this way.
You've got half of her at least.
Very pragmatic.
This is. What the fuck is going on?
Look, the poor boy here is being torn to shreds on the inside. Perhaps you could tell him about his mother, what happened, what she was like, where we are now.
Ah, well, where you are, that's a very pertinent question. I think people should ask that more often of themselves. They'll find very interesting answers that usually they don't even try to seek. This is Beauty's Rest, a very important island. And this tree behind us is very important indeed. Unfortunately, wilting. I would very much wish it weren't the case, but it were. When Lana was here, it was a glorious thing. Bright leaves glowing in the sunlight, but when she and the rest of them left, unfortunately, others did find this island, and it did not do so well for the island itself without its protectors.
That was interesting enough to not have me interrupt you, but vague enough to feed me pretty much no information.
You need to be more patient, young man. I can see that you are an elf. I see that that is a trait of your people, although you're quite a young one. Usually they're quite spiky.
Well, I mean, No, I am not spiky.
You're not just an elf, are you? Oh, you're something different. What an interesting group of individuals here. We've got Lana Garrigear, half but not clear. We've got a cat that walks and talks and prays to a lady that's not quite my lady. We've got an elf who seems to be glowing with the light of the sun and doesn't want to admit it. And over there is the pirate.
Yeah, no, she has rubies for eyes, actually. She's not normal.
At this, is there a good place to stash the paintings where they would feel safe, like in a shrub or?
You could find somewhere to
okay, I'm
put your
gonna
bag
do
down.
that, and probably cover it with like my cloak or something.
Yeah, exactly.
And move forward.
Indira, where are the paintings? I left him in that bush.
+3 to survival. I'll find them.
So why are you back here? I mean, I assume considering that Lana isn't here guiding you, that she probably met an unfortunate end.
We followed the map that was left to Gil'win by his mother.
Oh! You're here for the relic!
Relic?
Oh, that is a surprise. Yes. You're here for Soulmender. Now that's very interesting. You must really be a good son. You must have been very, very well behaved when you were younger to deserve something that important.
I was kind of a little bastard, but who isn't when they're a kid? So, do I...
It's just a phrase, you know? He'll say, Soulmender! Yes, Lana would left it here for safekeeping. Unfortunately, the island isn't exactly as safe as it used to be, but the sanctum it sits within is completely protected by magic. It still sits there as clean as the day it was left. Probably meant
what
for
is?
you. Well,
what is
it's a If I could explain it in words, young man, I mean, it would not do the item justice.
And this soul mender will not harm Gil'win?
No,
In
no,
any
no,
way?
no, no. It was built to cure. It was built to protect. It was built to help people. When that item was in the hands of your dear mother, it could heal the wounds of any who were injured. It could guide people on a path that could make sure the island was safe. We here were a people who did not want to fight, but unfortunately, creatures on an island such as this do not often allow the most peaceful lifestyles. So often, with that in hand, Lana and the rest of them would have to protect the island, and with Soulmender in hand, no harm went to anyone.
If Gil'win were to take this, what of you? What of the island?
Well, the island would probably remain sinking. But to get to Soulmender itself might very well help protect the island. I've been here alone for quite some time, thinking about all the information kept in this wooden head of mine. I do have many ideas on how to protect the island, but I am quite rooted to the ground.
You make a lovely masthead, I must say.
I do not know the meaning of the word, my lady.
The front of my ship. You can come with us.
Are you speaking right now because of your connection to the earth, or?
Oh no, I am made of magic, my sir.
You must be terribly lonely here.
I don't know the meaning of the word.
May I ask your name?
My name is Patchwork Jack. It was given to me by your mother. No one gave me a name before that. I believe my face is not quite all together as it used to be.
Yes, you
Harpies.
look a little bit more like Rotten Jack at the moment. So maybe we just call you Jack, no?
Yes.
Jack.
Jack.
Jack, would you like to come with us?
Perhaps. But first, you'll be wanting Soulmender, yes? I imagine you've gone quite a way. I can sense the sea and the snow on you.
And to restore the tree for you, if there's a way to do it.
Oh, yes. Restoring the island would be very important. These trees protect the world. Without them, chaos reigns. There are many of them, but
This tree protects the world.
you look on the world with your eyes, you smell it with your nose, and you hear it with your ears, but you do not see the actual truth of the world. The roots of this tree go deep into the earth and deep into the reality itself. If this tree were to die, as it may in the next few years, then this island would surely sink, and the sea around it and all the creatures within it would be damned to whatever fate the cruelest creatures on this world would want to give it.
How do we restore it? How do we restore the tree?
Yes,
Well.
Soulmender.
Soulmender is not powerful enough to prepare the tree, but in the very gathering of Soulmender would do good to the island. You see, the temple behind there is locked. The statue of Gira that keeps it, that gives the statue, the temple purpose, the arms are to be removed in protection. There are like keys. Unfortunately, when the arms were removed when the pilgrims last left, your mother included, they've fallen into quite unfavorable hands. You see, I can see quite far into the island. I can see that one of the arms made their way to the frogs of the north, and the other... Well, you are not the first people to have landed on this island since your mother left. There was a group of... I don't know what you call them. They're short and they have beards and they smell like whiskey.
Dwarves.
Dwarves found this island, and in the way they often are, they dug quite greedily on the bounty that was placed here for it. They have the other arm of the statue. To open the temple, the only way would be to get both arms. Then with Soulmender in your hands, Gil'win Gallagher, then we can worry about protecting the island and returning it to its former glory.
by your description, are the dwarves still on the island or have they left?
They were scared away by the storm. You
We
see,
must leave and return.
yes,
What sort of storm was it?
the enemy of our people, the followers of Gira, are the followers of the storm, the cleansing storm. It is a power that speaks through the destruction of all things so that they may regrow, which is what they say, and it sounds very, very fortuitous, but ultimately it leads to the destruction of all things. A champion of that dark faith has found this island and has done quite a lot of damage. It's part of the reason why the tree is such a condition. If it remains on this island, then the tree will surely wilt. Unfortunately, I do not know exactly where that champion is. Its powers are the antithesis of mine. Makes it quite hard to sense.
We encountered the storm on the way here. Perhaps they were attempting to stop our arrival, Gil'win.
But we
How
arrived.
long ago did they leave?
Oh, I'm not very good at counting the years. But I imagine however long it took for this one to grow up to as tall as he is now.
20?
That sounds like a good number, doesn't it?
That's how long ago the dwarves left with the arm.
Oh, the dwarf. They have the arm. Well, the arm is still there where they dug. The dwarves aren't still there, I think. When you get deep under the ground, my powers are more designed for what is above it.
Right.
The pilgrims left 20 years ago.
You
So
would
do-
make a lovely masthead.
So to summarize the information we have, we need to gather 2 arms that serves as keys to open the temple. One of them is with the frogs on the north of the island. The other presumably is left in the dwarven tunnels that were dug on this island.
Yes,
Well-
in the southern side.
That certainly gives
only-
us 2 clear headings at least.
If only all returns to glory were this easy.
Now, I
Well,
wouldn't
then-
say that it is an easy fate that befalls you. If it was so easy, I would have done it myself.
No, fate has not been kind. Perhaps we should rest here for a night, draw up a map with Jack here, and set forth tomorrow.
Agreed.
I presume you can draw a map. Your people seem to be quite proficient at the arts.
I can draw a map and give you places to go, yes. They might not be completely accurate.
Well, I mean, actually, come to think of it, we already have a map. You just need to mark the areas that we should go.
And perhaps throughout the evening overnight, if Gil is amenable to it, you might tell him of his mother.
Perhaps. But the boy looks shocked. I don't think we should overwhelm him. He's talking to a scarecrow after all.
Yeah.
I'm sure he has seen as much wondrous things on his travels as a talking scarecrow. But yes, no, you are completely right, of course. It is up to Gil'win.
We should rest. Definitely.
I'll start a fire. Jack, you don't mind if we start a fire in here, do you?
Just make sure it doesn't get too close. Oh no, my internet has gone down. You see, there's terrible Wi-Fi on this island. He said it. Just make sure you don't get too close.
I'm still on 3G.
What
What
if
do you mean, what is 4G?
perhaps we stay in one of the buildings in case the storm rolls over the island?
I should imagine that this building would be just as safe as any others. If nothing else, there is a great holy power here in the form of this tree to protect us.
Dira goes and grabs the paintings.
So is Jack like in the earth with.
He's like staked into the ground. Yeah.
Okay.
You almost got to imagine like the frame of him is kind of a crucifix sort of thing with like the
Right.
arms and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
shoulders.
That's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah. It seems like you could, in theory, just remove him if you were strong enough.
Yeah.
Hey.
At a glance. But sometimes these things, there's magic behind them that is.
Oh, I have some ideas.
Vail will set up the camp.
Yeah, but if Vail's setting up the camp, Knight is going to go see if he can find something to hunt. Probably go back to the swampy area and see if he can fish up a few piranhas.
Give me a survival roll. There absolutely are piranhas in that water. You do not find anything to hunt. In fact,
I get bitten on the leg by a piranha.
In fact,
Fish hunts you.
Night goes off before it gets too dark, saying he's going to get stuff back to hunt. After around an hour, you realize it's a bit weird and he hasn't come back. And then he doesn't come back for like the next hour.
Ira probably has like some salted fish jerky,
Yeah.
just like on her because this is what she do.
Yeah, if you have rations in your inventory, then you have them on you now to eat.
So she'd pass some of that around and be like, "So I'm gonna go look for him."
Who? Go back.
He
Yeah.
went out hunting fish earlier.
Why
Perhaps-
don't you guys stay here and hang out with Jack, and I'll go get him.
I've been abducted by frogs.
That always happens. I think that must be one of the most reoccurring like Ollie D&D tropes. Is people getting abducted by frogs.
So, you sure you'll be okay on your own? Can you see in the dark?
No, but I've got torches.
You can see in the dark.
Yes, I can see in the dark. I don't have that as one of my.
You have dark vision because you're kind of an elf.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just- it's not,
Yeah, I just don't have that on my sheet.
Yeah,
it's
don't worry
not
about
that I don't think you're capable, Indira. It's just, what if you are to hear some more harpies say?
Well, then I'll have a good night indeed.
Well, I mean, maybe, but they eat people, right? You know, it's not just that.
Fine, you can come. I just figured maybe he would like some time.
Actually, the harpy, it's more of a myth. They don't just eat you. First, they kill you, then they eat you.
I heartily laugh at that.
They're like stares at Gil like blank face.
Like Jim face.
Yeah.
I'm not scared, but if you're scared, then you can come with me.
Vail, you can go with her. I'm fine. I've got Jack.
So you want me to come with you? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, she's dying for you to go with her.
Well,
She rolls her eyes and is just like, please,
well, it would be
please
rude,
protect me.
rude of me, I suppose, Gil, to say no.
Oh no, yeah.
But you'll be okay, yeah?
Yeah, I'm fine. Well, you know what I've got now. I'm fine.
Well, I mean, not all that sure of what you've got, but he reaches into his pack and chucks you a little bottle of dwarven whiskey. Stay warm. Don't want to come back to you being frozen or catching a cold,
She places the package, like not package, but like she wrapped the portraits.
Paintings. Yeah.
Oh.
Paintings in a cloak. She sets them down firmly next to him and is just like, you take care of those.
Don't worry, I will.
I'm holding them for a friend, so.
Lead on then, Indira.
She turns tail and walks directly out and starts looking for tracks.
Hey, why don't you give me a survival roll?
Bale tends to kill it. He's like,
Give me a survival roll, Miss Indira.
Will do. Hey,
That's
finally.
a good one. You actually quite easily find Knight's tracks because the feet of a tabaxi are quite unlike anything else. They could be maybe confused with like a lion, but there's only 2 feet, so you wouldn't think that for very long anyway. And with the mud and the sort of the wet plant life and stuff of the swamp, it's actually very easy to follow his directions perfectly as you go through the swamp at night. And all the plant, like the sounds have changed to, you know, there's a cacophony of sound of monkeys off in the distance and different buzzing bugs, and you can see
Veil
the moon
swearing a
reflected.
lot.
Yeah.
Ah.
And Dira's loving it. She's like, oh, here, look. Yeah, you know, like.
Enjoying the hunt. Yeah.
Puss, 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 puss.
Eventually you find
Calling
Knight
for more happies.
in the wow.
That's how my grandma calls kitties. People.
I was gonna say that is a grandma attracting a cat noise. You eventually do find Knight dangling upside down in a net.
I was
from
about
one
to
of the
say.
trees. Definitely, right? It's what happens. And 2 of those little frog creatures, around 3-4 foot tall, they have spears. They're kind of like poking him with the spears.
I imagine Knight is upside down in the net, but he's just got his arms folded, like his legs crossed. He's just like whistling to himself.
And you can
Not
hear that
bothered.
these frog creatures are definitely talking, but they're like, and everyone's like,
I'm sorry, I'm afraid you don't understand you, my friends.
they're like trying to get him down, but clearly the net has been put too tall, and they have to like climb up on the roots. And it's not.
Have the frogs noticed us?
No, not immediately.
Why don't you disappear on up that tree and cut our friend down? I'll distract these guys.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay, yeah, Captain.
Give me acrobatics and a stealth. Or, do you? So you say
I
that?
wait until he disappears off.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
They turn to sort of see you, and like they do the things frogs do when they blink, and their eyes go like inside their head, and then come back out, and like.
That's my friend up there.
Yes, I would really suggest that you don't fight her. She is rather strong.
I'm rather strong. Run along.
You can give me an intimidate. It's one of those things. It's not even like you yell. It's just like get out of here. They kind of like look at each other, and like this is not worth it for 2 frogs. And they like they move away with like some degree of like saving face, but when they like think they're out of sight, which they aren't because you can actually see in the dark both you and Vail quite well, like they fucking leg it and they like start swimming in the waters.
I'm gonna make a note of what direction they go and their tracks, what their tracks look like.
Yeah.
To hopefully give me some sort of advantage later on when we need to go to the frog people.
And then you can easily cut down Knight, the 2 of you.
And Knight obviously lands on his feet, despite having
Happens to the best of us, Knight.
He just lands and says, my apologies, I appear to have delayed our dinner.
I pass him a salted fish jerky.
Thank you. You see, there was this rather large piranha, you see. It looked rather scrumptious, so I was following it, I let down my guard, and well, the rest is history. Thank you.
Like me and so many ugly men. Chips this way.
All right, and with that, we'll take our break for the last hour. Enjoy yourself some salted fish jerky while we're on break.